David Pumpkins!
We toys can see everything.
So play nice.
Howdy, partner, and happy Hanksoween! It's Halloween day, night, whenever you're listening to this. It's the Halloween spirit, and TomHanksgiving is back to celebrate the David S. Pumpkins animated Halloween special. I'm your host, Hellvis Ghoulnash, and I'm joined by the one, the only...
Andrew Greene.
Come on.
Andy, you want me to say it? I do it for you. WolfMandy.
WolfMandy, Candyman Greene. You got so many options.
WolfMandy.
Let's throw back to the way we met.
FM WolfMandy.
FM WolfMandy.
I think that still exists on Twitter, guys.
Yeah, follow that. And that's it for this week. No, okay.
We're still alive.
So we're back for this Halloween special because Tom Hanks showed up for a Halloween special. Shooting off from...
Did he? Do we know?
Yes, that was his voice. He was in the live act with us. This was real.
We saw some, yeah.
This was real.
Some B-roll from the previous.
It's hard to not tell. Because it kind of doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
We just watched the episode. We watched the special? Yeah, it's not an episode.
Well, it's a half hour special.
So context.
Yes.
No, before we go into that.
Okay.
It's Halloween. It's been a couple of months since we've done an episode.
It has.
Now that
our
we're
lives
in
have changed so much.
Semi-permanent retirement. How are you, Andy? How are you doing?
I'm
you still have that show, Gossip Girl? Gossip Guys?
I wish I had the show Gossip Girl. I have the show Gossip Guys, yes. It's on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud.
That's great.
And I'm doing well. I am in the Halloween spirit. I'm a Halloween guy.
You just came to our Halloween party.
Yeah, I was invited. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I was David S. Pumpkins at the Halloween party.
You had no choice.
It had to be, because I couldn't get it last year. It was the suit was gone.
And you're wearing the tie now.
Because you only have so many.
I want everyone to know that you're wearing the tie.
Yeah, I'll post pictures of my costume. There's only so many options.
You sounded so down and out, like you don't want to share that. You look good. If you've seen the costume, it's exactly that.
Yeah, it works. I didn't have two skeletons. That was the downside.
You didn't have skeleton left and right. We now know their full name.
Yes. And we don't know David S. Pumpkin's full name. We don't know what the S stands for. But my headcanon is that it stands for Steve, for Pumpkin Steve. You can't see it. I'm holding him.
Is an inside joke.
If they don't know who Pumpkin Steve is, he's his own thing. But yeah.
Is Pumpkin Steve's origin as exciting and thrilling as David S. Pumpkin's is?
Well, it's more specific. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But the origin of the character of David S. Pumpkins, as we all know, it was now 2 years. No, it was last year.
Yeah.
Where SNL had this haunted elevator sketch where Tom Hanks was the host of that episode.
Yeah.
And everybody's seen this now. But if you haven't, my God, go watch that. And David S. Pumpkin is just this guy on this 100 Floors of Frights thing, and that became like this
elevator. Yeah.
Yes, the elevator, and it became this crazy viral hit for SNL, out of nowhere. And I remember, I assume you read the thing too. It was like an interview with Bobby Moynihan where he explained the origins of the sketch. And how Tom Hanks
didn't want to do it.
He did not want to do it. He thought it was stupid. And he kept saying, like, because Chris Hemsworth was the host next week. And he was like, I think Chris Hemsworth would make a great David S. Pumpkins.
This is why Tom Hanks is a good director.
Because there's something like, it's a really stupid sketch. What's funny about it is its weirdness and its repetition.
Yes.
But I think putting Tom Hanks into it and just the way he commits to this stupidest role is kind of why it was so electric at the time. And he came back for a cameo in the rap song sketch, which I think was great. He was David S. Pimpkins. And for me, that was enough. I was like, this is... You don't want to ram this character into the ground.
Too much.
But David S. Pimpkins felt like the perfect cameo because it's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's enough.
And it wasn't like Halloween. You weren't ready for it.
Exactly.
He wasn't hosting, so it wasn't an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. And that felt perfect. So like,
There's definitely been David S. Pumpkin's backlash too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's backlash of anything, and who cares?
but because it got so hyped,
They're just
people
like,
are
yeah.
like, it's not funny.
Or there's just too much of him, and I understand that a little bit.
I understand the
Not the backlash, but just the idea of like, let's pump the brakes.
Well, what I love about it is that's just the reaction that the characters have in the original.
Right,
Why did you go all in
that's-
on David Pumpkins?
That's true, and they're just like, let's just keep going.
Yeah, but they went all in on David Pumpkins, and I know I first knew something was coming when Hanks tweeted the photo of the script.
Right.
And we didn't know if it was animated or if it was another SNL sketch or whatever.
Yeah, because going to show up. That's what I thought was it was just going to be another sketch for Halloween.
Yeah.
Which we saw was just a clip show.
Yeah. Which,
or no, I guess it had the It sketch. There was a couple of new sketches.
We didn't watch the SNL episode that was part of this or followed this.
It's his own thing, as he said.
Because David S. Pumpkins is his own thing, and
I think was the 10:34 joke like a thing, like that's when this ends, and then 10:34 is when SNL starts.
That's what I believe that was
Yeah.
referring to. Yeah, which is really funny.
It's one of those evergreen jokes that will always work, no matter when you watch it.
Even the day after when we watched it and had to find it on NBC.com.
Great plug for NBC.
Yeah. Well, you can't find this thing, at least not right now.
Yeah, as of right now, you have to go on the NBC app, or if you have NBC.
Hopefully,
proper.
you watched it the night it aired. I didn't.
Me neither.
Yeah, but I'm glad we watched it. Now let's talk about it. So at this point, like, I was excited because I'm the host of TomHanksgiving.
Why was your Halloween costume? It's a fun thing.
Yeah, no, I was super excited, but at the same time, like, is this too much David S. Pumpkins? How do you feel like this?
Well, wait, before we answer that question, you put David S. Pumpkins on your top 10 performances of Tom Hanks' career.
I did. But that doesn't mean, Woody was also on there.
Yeah.
Do we need a Toy Story
it's
4?
True. And sometimes that takes away from it.
Exactly.
In a way. Well, like you said, I feel like until you said that the repetition is kind of the point.
Yes.
And that the whole characters reacting is how we are. Like, I mean, the whole episode, I'm kind of like, well, this is flimsy. But that's the point, right? I mean, it's.
His origin song is probably my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about being
character.
as vague as possible, or as just it's flying in the face of like trying to say something,
Yeah.
or like even it's like an origin story with no origin, like it's like a flashback where it just cuts to a blank screen. Like I like that. There's some clever stuff in here.
Yeah. At the same time, even though we didn't really get any specific, there's no reason to David S. Pumpkins. That's, I guess, what we got from it.
And I think that's a good thing.
Yes,
I think that's a good choice.
I agree too. Because why do you need there's obviously I love the old Rankin Bass Christmas specials.
Those are my
and,
favorite things.
Let's get the origin on Rudolph, on Santa, and those kind of make sense what I like about those, it's kind of like recontextualizing these very Christian tied imagery into their own secular-ish holiday iconography.
I mean, Nestor the long-eared donkey is not.
That's true.
It's quite religious. It's also very haunting and dark.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, those are basically take a song. I mean, like Rudolph, Frosty, in a way,
let's make a movie.
and let's make a movie out of it.
Special.
And it's still it amazes me. It's a half an hour, and as a kid, it felt like it was a full movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one. It feels like it's about 4 minutes long, but it's actually 30 minutes. Especially with the 6 ads on Hulu.
Yeah, those
YouTube, whatever. We're on NBC. We're all there.
On the internet.
Yeah.
There's just too many ads now. It's TV again.
Should we say? I mean, we had kind of what the bones of this is. Peter Dinklage is our narrator.
Yes.
As Kevin, as an older version of the kid who meets David S. Pumpkins with his sister, Dottie. Wrote that down.
I'm glad you wrote that down. I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I also didn't catch the name of the villain. Because I don't know if it's the speakers or my ears are just fucked up, but
or you just had some whimsy.
Maybe that was it. But yeah, they introduced this character. I first thought it was Wrinkle Man, and he was the evil bad guy.
It's like Gangy.
Yeah, exactly. In the old, that was the other thing. It's the David S. Pumpkin special. It's supposed to be it's trying to be as dumb as possible.
So Wrinkle Man, honestly, probably would have been cooler.
Fits, and then I thought it was Rank Old Man.
He's just a smelly old.
Yeah, which also still kind of fits the S. Pumpkins aesthetic.
Yeah.
And then it just sounded weird, so I was like, okay, it's Ranko Man, which I don't know what that means. And then finally, by the ad I asked you guys and yelled at you. Y'all yelled, "It's Raincoat Man."
Yeah.
Somehow I had missed that detail. He was wearing a raincoat.
You would have gotten it by the end, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that
It
just
added
goes,
another
that just goes to
layer of
show,
mystery.
don't ask questions while you're watching something. The movie will tell you. I was being that annoying guy.
Well, I mean, that's his whole. I mean, there's like 3 beats that you have with David S. Pumpkins, or like 3 lines. We have the any questions line, and that's. I mean, what you're just saying.
I was
you had a
asking
question,
questions.
and you won't get those. Which I don't know. Did you like that? I mean, I know that's the point, but like, it felt like it was like a rerun stuffed into something like around a skeleton, or like it was just. It's not. It's funny, but like it's not.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the thing. The downside is that David S. Pumpkins essentially is one gag, where it's kind of like internet random humor, where it's like, this is a thing, and like that's what's funny about it, is there's no reason, there's no rhyme, there's no explanation. Despite the fact that he always says any questions. But what I like about this special is it gave so much. It didn't give any like reason to David S. Pumpkins, but it gave him. There was not depth, but
there flourishes.
It flourishes. Like, there was specificity. There was color. Like his powers are interesting. Like he slaps the skeletons and then can make a boneyard or a bone rails.
Yeah, kind of like a coaster, a skeleton coaster that you can fly. I mean, it's like a sled for Christmas essentially, and I really liked that wrinkle, and I love his pumpkin mobile.
Yeah, which is the best thing, I think, is his pumpkin mobile is a giant strawberry they drive around in.
And then he just eats it after they're done.
And it's a one use, he can't bring it again, he has to ride the bus.
That was a great joke.
Yeah.
They had some good, I guess.
Like, there were good jokes in this, it's just kind of like the spirit of David S. Pumpkins is still limited in what kind of jokes he could tell. Like, I don't think we should get a second animated special. At the same time, I would think that's hilarious that it would exist.
Imagine if it was just a yearly thing.
That's kind of great. Like, I kind of love the idea that David S. Pumpkins just sort of becomes an actual Halloween icon, the Halloween Santa.
As it was positing, or just assuming, because they were saying Halloween doesn't have one, and I guess that's true.
But that's also what I think Moynihan talked about when they were writing the original sketch, is like, who is the Halloween mascot? And I think the first time they took a crack at it was Nightmare Before Christmas. It was Jack Skellington, but...
Yeah, or like just the Reaper, I feel like, or like a generic kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, but
that's not a.
Even I didn't even really think of the Grim Reaper in terms of Halloween.
Yeah, no, it's more just death.
I guess Jack-o'-lantern is the closest thing, or Michael Myers maybe because it's
right.
Halloween,
I would think of just various big, like the Crypt Keeper or something like those are kind of those horror.
Another
like,
Tomhanksgiving episode.
There you go.
Tales from the Crypt.
See, I'm just trying to give you some plugs to your own shit. I feel like there's some metaphor that I haven't figured out yet with the lazy eye. And that's because I think it's two of my favorite visual gags in this. Is that because the whole show, Pumpkins' mouth is just wide open, grinning like an idiot.
They really captured that,
and that was great. It was
yeah.
very good. Yeah, and it's something I think even Tom Hanks would struggle doing 20 minutes straight.
Yeah,
and then that's the benefit of the animation. But then, you just kind of cut to him, and then, like, they're kind of expecting something, and then all he does is the eye just, like, moves out of his eye.
It's not even a lazy eye, because it goes in the wrong direction.
Well, it's just like a magic... It doesn't make any sense. And I think that perfectly encapsulates the show, or David S. Pumpkins.
Yeah. I think...
I don't know.
What did you think of the musicals? We had, 2 new numbers?
Well, there was the origin song, or the answer song that had no answers, vague song. I loved it. And then there was the thread of a song that wasn't a song.
Yes.
Right? Was there more than that?
No, I think it was those 2.
And those were great. Those were both fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you enjoy the kind of Night Before Christmas, like, rhyming scheme that we had?
Almost like the Grinch, really. The musical. But yeah, no, I thought that was nice. I thought that they made it was a good use of the joke of fucking up the rhyme at the very end.
Right, that made it much better.
Yeah. It was
a very simple rhyme.
Yeah, it was great.
Was it? You don't sound like... Well, it was great, ...
I really enjoy it, but, I enjoy it almost... I not ironically, but, the thing that's funniest about it is that it exists in the first place.
Right, and it's hard to go beyond there.
Because it's so ridiculous.
If you didn't have a Tom Hanks podcast, if you weren't a huge Tom Hanks fan, would you give a shit about this?
I probably wouldn't have watched it, but I still would have thought it was funny had I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, because you probably would have you would have watched this sketch and liked that regardless.
Yeah, because it's still all of them are very funny.
Yeah.
It's just like this weird phenomenon, and even if I didn't host this podcast, I would still love Tom Hanks. So.
Yeah. Do you think this special kills the momentum of this big breakout character thing, or do you think it continues like you said?
Momentum is a weird word with David S. Pumpkins because it's like, was there? I mean, there was obviously, but
I feel like the best way to do is you rest it for about 12 years, or wait for a long time.
12 is too random number. It has to be like
12 is too random a number.
14. I don't know.
Why is that a better random number?
I don't know. What? I guess there's no good random number.
13 if you want to go Halloween.
But it shouldn't be Halloween.
Yeah, no, exactly. It shouldn't
Gotta be 10, 34 years.
Yeah, I don't know if
10 and a half years.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. So he comes
back.
back.
In Easter?
Yeah. Oh,
that would be
David
great.
S. Pumpkin's Easter special.
I'd be into that.
I think
something that makes even less sense than this one did, because it still was a Halloween special.
Yeah.
It would be great if he showed up.
And I think that's kind of what the downside is every time you have a character that's like this, and they keep coming back, they're a little bit watered down from their initial appearance. And I think that's true. The funniest thing from David S. Pumpkins is still the original sketch.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna change. But there's an interactivity you could get with a character like this, with an SNL featured character, that the immediate laughter of the discovery of him coming back is funnier because you have those feelings. And this isn't like a film or a really well-told story where I feel like we're betraying the original source material. So I don't give a shit about that. It's not like, Toy Story 4, why are we ruining this perfect trilogy? It's like David S. Pumpkins, there's not a whole lot of nuance there. So ram this into the ground forever. I don't care if he comes back every year, because it's not going to, I mean, it's... How far can it really go?
He's the perfect cut-to character in a show. Really.
No, that said, I don't want him to show up every... he should show up slightly less often than Sideshow Bob does in The Simpsons. Because Sideshow Bob's my favorite character. But if he was there even more often than he is, it would just water him down.
Does it work in the same way? Because when you're watching a sketch... When we knew that he was in the rap song, that's the only reason you watched that rap song, right? So it's not like you were surprised that he was going to be in it.
But imagining that surprise...
That helps?
Is actually, the funniest thing.
Yeah, you're not going to sit down and just start watching SNL every week for that.
Just in case. No, this is not going to get just... Not even to diminish SNL. It's just, not a thing I have the time for, especially live.
Yeah, we got lives on Saturday night now.
Exactly. So it's not but I will always watch when David S. Pumpkins comes back. I don't know if we'll always do a podcast every time, but this necessitated.
Yeah, no, it's a little bite-sized action. Yeah, I don't know. It's it was like a flimsy half hour of fun. Is that accurate?
I guess here's the thing. There, and this is how we can close this episode.
Okay.
Unless you did figure out your deep dive metaphor for what it is.
The lazy eye thing. Well, no, I just think that was kind of what the character is.
It sums up the character.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. There's not. The episode itself is lazy, but on purpose.
Yeah. And
that's kind of the whole thing, and I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. I like that it's not trying to make a lesson. That it's not like, what's the lesson of Halloween? I love that Kevin asks that, and he's like, no, it's just about candy. And that, I mean...
Well, if we're going to go this far into it, into the philosophy, I think it's important that Kevin, he does come up with a lesson, but it's a lesson he creates.
Right.
That, you can believe in yourself. And I think that's how audiences react to, not David S. Pumpkin specifically, but to stories in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes a story doesn't have a meaning, or an artist creates a film or a TV show or something, and there's not an intention behind it, or if there is, it's not going to be the one you take away.
Right. It might be something completely different.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've done with TomHanksgiving, this podcast, the whole time.
Imprint your own.
Yeah, it's we're going to death of the author a little bit and find meaning within this material, whether it be as hokey and dumb as the David S. Pumpkins animated special, or as highbrow as the original David S. Pumpkin sketch.
Or Cloud Atlas. He does learn, because, I mean, at the end, he's a goofy, weird, awkward, neurotic...
himself.
Yeah, and then he knocks himself into the mailbox, and before he would run away and not own it, but then he kind of bowed, and that's the...
Yeah, he took the lesson. It's interesting, now I'm kind of reading that David S. Pumpkins' reaction to, what was it, Billy? Kevin.
Yeah.
I always assume it's Billy in one of these.
Billy!
To trying to discern a lesson from this is he just shouts candy. It's like David S. Pumpkins is almost like nihilistic or just pure chaos in that way.
I think he is.
Yeah.
No, he is kind of like a Loki-ish kind of.
He's very puckish.
Without any sort of, he doesn't have any designs,
No.
any goal. He has no objective, except for candy, I guess, or just being weird.
Being David S. Pumpkins.
Right.
I don't know, yeah.
That's enough.
But...
I don't know. I think there is.
So that might be even saying like, okay, if David S. Pumpkins represents the stories we watch, that's kind of a like, you can't take the story's authority for what it's trying to say because it's all just anarchy. It's nihilism. It's like there's there's no depth there. It's only the depth you find, and.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how important or like whatever theme or message is going into a movie if it doesn't connect to you. Like. Yeah. If you don't get it, if you don't glean that, or if it doesn't connect to you in the same way, it's like what we imprint. I mean, it is important, but I'm just saying the viewer. It doesn't diminish. It's not changing you.
It doesn't diminish. Yeah, your specific reaction to the thing.
Exactly.
That's valid. It might not be what the work is actually talking about, but your reaction, whether you liked it or loved it or thought it was stupid. That was a truthful reaction.
Yes.
It might not be the most informed or relating to the piece, but it's a thing. So continue to find meaning and search for meaning in things. But to wrap this up, is this because there's only last year on Halloween on Hanksoween we talked about Inferno, if you remember, and I don't know if that really.
This is better than Inferno.
This is definitely better than Inferno, and Inferno we only talked about it on Halloween because that's when it came out in theaters, and that's not really a scary Halloweeny movie, and this makes me think this is
scary in different ways.
yes, but this is why I think this is so important because there's only. I can only think of 2 Halloween-appropriate Tom Hanks movies outside of the Toy Story short, which we haven't covered, but we will in the future. Probably next Halloween.
Terror, right?
Toy Story of Terror. But it's He Knows You're Alone, his very first feature film appearance, and
The Burbs.
The Burbs counts. That's right. That's got some spooky vibes, and I guess you could definitely say Mazes and Monsters.
Oh yeah.
Very Halloween appropriate.
I would say that one works.
So there's 3, and then we have Toy Story of Terror we'll throw in, and then we have now the David S. Pumpkins special. So that's 5 solid Hanks Halloween.
Well, I think we've talked about how one of the genres that I want to see Tom Hanks go into more is horror. I mean, this is hardly horror. I mean, it's just silly fun, but like it's still
it counts in Halloween.
Yeah, it does count. Yeah, but I would love to see more of the Insidious Hanks.
Okay. Here's my pitch.
Okay.
They do a David S. Pumpkins movie, but it's a straight horror where he's like fucking killing people.
Yes, I would.
Wouldn't that be amazing? It's like Saw, but like as goofy as like House, the Japanese horror film.
Oh yeah. No, or like imagine if this had ended with like you think he gets like these kids candy, but they're just like poison, or they're all just dying and like frothing at the mouth, like saying goodbye to Paige and the Abbott, like his crush, and they just die, like blood just like explodes out of them, and it's just like I don't know, like why not?
Yeah, that would have been so much better. But yeah, now I'm left to like, who was this special for?
It was definitely for kids. It felt like, it was like. I mean, it felt like it was, but at the same time, are kids gonna watch David S. Pumpkins? Like, they don't watch SNL.
No, it feels like they created a David S. Pumpkins for kids, but that it's still gonna require the adults who like this to show it to kids.
And I mean, I guess it was a parody of specials, kids specials, but I don't know. I don't think it was really making fun of that.
Like it should, if it was supposed to be a parody, then it should have gone to David S. Pumpkins kills everybody.
Right.
And that's why he always remembers this guy, because he's terrified.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you could have cut to like the dead sister or something horrible. Like she wasn't there. Why was it Kevin's story, right? Or what was in the pumpkin? Like it was just on his lap weirdly the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a dick in a box.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah,
like David S. Pumpkins just turns out to be a creepy pedophile or something.
Oh no. We don't need that.
No, probably not that one specifically, but this could have been a lot better. But I'm glad it exists.
Yes.
I do you hope we see more David S. Pumpkins?
Yes, but not for a while.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see him again.
I mean, I think we came up with 2 pitches in this thing that I would like: a straight horror movie or short, and then him in a different holiday. Like taking Easter and just ruining Easter would be great.
Yeah, and that would be that could fit into an SNL sketch in
Yeah.
the Easter episode, and then David S. Pumpkins just shows the fuck up.
But I feel like I would say in 2 Easters, maybe,
Yeah,
or something like.
let's cool it on the pumpkins.
But the problem is, it's going to be whenever Toy Story 4 comes out, they're going to want to bring him back, and that's kind of what it is. It's like it's going to be used as a promotional tool. I hope not, but I feel like it will.
You're just giving me more reasons to be excited for Toy Story 4 instead of dreading it, which I kind of like. So that at the very least,
you want that?
At the very, I mean, if we have to have Toy Story 4, but we get maybe another David S. Pumpkins out of it, I'm kind of in favor.
But you said
of
you
that.
didn't want so much more.
I do, but at the same time,
You're just curious.
I'm curious. I'm always going to be into it. Yeah. But a long time for me could be, 3 months from now. No, that's too soon.
Well, I mean, with all the content, it does 3 months feels like a long time.
Yeah.
Or you've seen.
But at the same time,
more.
it's been what? How long? 3 months since we recorded The Tempest, and it feels like it's been too soon.
That's true, yeah.
But you know what? Next time, we'll be back to talk about a real movie. The Post, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep and a couple other gems.
Talk about important topics and themes.
Yeah, oh boy, that's gonna be a heavy duty one. We gotta practice because this is still.
David S. Pumpkins is gonna be in that movie, you think?
You know what? It's possible. It's probably
we
not.
have to practice. You're saying we're out of the.
I feel like the last 2 we haven't done any deep dives, and I hope we get something deepy from.
This is a shallow pool. We're deep in it.
That's true.
Jumping in, that's gonna hurt our head. We can't just. There's not.
Well, I guess for those
like what you said,
listeners,
we're digging our own meaning out of it. There wasn't
Exactly.
any to glean, I don't think.
So for those listeners, we don't have any answers to the questions you have either. And that's gonna do it for this Halloween special of the TomHanksgiving podcast. You can follow me at Elvis Kaboom on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the show at TomHanksPod on Twitter. Andy, where can they find you?
I'm at Wandering Greene, Greene with an E at the end, on Twitter and Instagram. And the podcast is at Gossip Guys Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and iTunes, as I said.
All right.
Yeah, we did it.
So until next time, Happy Hanksoween!
I'm David Pumpkins!
We toys can see